Okay, we're back to work on this poulan chainsaw. I do have the garage door open, so if there's a lot of background noise, it's all the cars going by. So the first step I'm going to do is get the fuel system back together. I did route new fuel lines off camera. I didn't bother showing it because it's on these saws it's hard to do. It was hard enough for me to do it. There's plenty of other videos out there on it. So I got this carburetor all cleaned off. I think it goes on there, something like that. Hang on, I'm just trying to figure out how this goes here. Got the linkage here. I'll slide it on how I think it goes. This here goes over here. If I can get it in there. And then that should pull. Yep, that pulls on there, and that'll go into the air filter once that goes on. And then this here slides in there. Can y'all see? Yeah. And then that goes where that goes. I think that this goes on next. Just making sure that the holes are clean. Goes on like that. That little butterfly up there goes to the top, and it goes in this rubber bushing here. And there's two screws in there, right there and there, and I'll get those here in a minute. And then your linkage, it goes like that. Slides into there. I did clean this off a little bit. Yeah, I should have done a bit better, but I didn't. Trying to remember where that goes. I think, oh. Yeah, okay, now I remember. Should have looked at the other video of how this went. So that goes like that. I think, well, how does, I think it would go a different way. Linkages are always the hard part. I think it needs to go from that side. There we go. And then that pushes like that. And then if I can get the throttle linkage out of there. Let's see. And then that would go, I think, right in there. So I gotta take it all back apart now. That slides off. Sorry, I know I keep showing you this over and over. So this blue choke lever, can y'all see? Yeah, it goes right in there. It just slides right down in there like that. And then the throttle linkage goes in that hole right there by my finger. Like that. I think, anyway. No. I don't know. This is always the hard part. Maybe that might... is that the right way for the carburetor? I'm still trying to figure this out. I don't remember how any of this goes. I did put... Yeah, I put new fuel lines on it. I don't remember if I said that or not. So that... I'm trying to look for witness marks here. That seems like it would go right in there. I might have to watch my other video of how this came apart. And then that goes in there. Like so. Nope, that's not right. This is hard. So we'll try it in that hole. Well, let me see here. I hate doing this part. Yeah. So that wouldn't go in there. Maybe it would have. Huh. So that's the choke right there. Yeah, that's choke, so that faces out. But let me pull this off. With that. Huh. And that's your throttle. Right there. And then that goes on there. That goes like that. That goes in like that. And then that should push like that, but I don't want to fit right into the handle. If I can get this lined up. Okay, I got it. Ooh. That was a little tricky. I just want to be sure this is all clean because I don't want dirt getting sucked into this engine. And that slides on like that. Slides in to there. And then I'm just going to slide the choke lever in. Like so. That fuel line there goes over. Oh yeah. I forgot to put one fuel line on. So I'm gonna pause the camera, put this last fuel line on, and bring you guys back. Okay, so I got the fuel lines where I think they should be. And next step is gonna be putting this thing back on, which I cleaned it up a little bit. Oops, screw fell out. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I gotta get this choke lever back in. And I gotta put the 2 screws in for this thing. Get that out of my way. And put that like that. And then the 2 screws, which they're very tiny screws, so be careful with them. There's 1. There's 2. I found that Phillips. Oh no. How am I ever going to get that back? Okay, I can see it, so I might be able to get it with the magnet on the screwdriver. See, did I get it? No. Alright, I'm going to get a magnet on a stick and get that out. I'll be right back. Okay, I thankfully got that screw retrieved. If you like to play around with this kind of stuff, and I would definitely recommend investing in a magnet on a stick. That thing that we have has saved me several times. Or if you're just doing anything and lose something, it's just nice to have around. I found that a Phillips screwdriver works better than a flat. For these, I tried a flat when I was taking it apart and it didn't fit right well. You want to get them just You know, you want to get them snug enough to where they don't back out, but not over tight, because these are tiny little screws. Okay, then this goes on next. I probably should put gas in it and make sure that the fuel lines are hooked up correctly, but I think I trust myself. And then this screw goes in right there. Just like so, and then I'll check it with the screwdriver just to be sure it's tight enough. Right there is that screw I was tightening. Yep. Perfect. And then that's working. And that I think goes there. That yellow wire. There's a little tab. Let's see, can y'all see? Yeah, there's a little tab sticking up right there on the air filter where it goes in. That goes on like that. Then this goes in like that. And it goes on that pivot point. I think. Let's see, does that go? There's a little tab in there for the ground that you gotta get right. Tricky to get on camera. Hold on. Let's see, I think that tab has to go down just like that. Then that, whoops, I think that goes in there. And then that gets, this is tricky here. And that slides, whoops, I keep knocking that out. That slides on there. I'm just gonna be sure everything's right. Which I don't think it is, because, you know, these cheaper saws aren't really that easy to work on. Okay. And choke lever slid out. Right as I got that on there. That should be. Yeah, I know this. I'm not great at filming, but all I'm doing is just holding the ground tab out of my way. Well, it's got to be a certain way in order for this to go on and kill the engine. And let's see, is that, well, that should move. Yeah, you can see probably. I think that the choke has to be in a certain spot, otherwise that won't move. Huh. I don't know, this is kind of hard. Maybe that slides under there, like that. And then that should move. Maybe I have it on there wrong. Maybe it needs to go something like that. Huh. I might pause the camera while I do this, because there's that. Okay, I think I got it how it should be. Yeah, that's how it needs to be. And then that. Ooh, okay. Finally. And then put my parts in here. And 2 nuts go on there. Those are 5/16 nuts, which they're a little bit tricky to get on. I'm going to get some gas real quick and make sure that I hook the fuel lines up before I go any further, so that way if I have to take this apart, I don't have so much to do. I don't think I got the fuel lines right, so I'm going to take this back off camera and just be sure everything's flowing right. You don't need to see that. I just put that back on. Okay, so I got those fuel lines switched around. I got this cover back on here, or air filter, whatever you want to call it. It's a really nice night tonight. It's pretty cold. It was windy all day, but it's finally died down. It's kind of peaceful. Okay, I think we're ready to give it a quick start here and see what it does and doesn't do. Oh wait, I got one last screw I gotta put in. And it is, can y'all see? Now you'll be able to. It's right in there for to hold the off. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. The weather's really changed. Apparently, it's supposed to be pretty ugly winter where we are. It's supposed to be really cold at the beginning of November, which, with how cool it's already been, I don't doubt that. I think here, not too long, it's going to get down to 31 in the night. I don't know exactly what night here, sometime this week. Okay, I'm going to put these 3 screws back in for this here that I took out in the last episode. Try to push that all the way on. Maybe once I get the screws in there, it'll draw it in. I should have cleaned this a little bit better, which I might come through here again and let some degreaser soak on it so all that oily stuff gets off. Chainsaws are hard to clean. It's one of my least favorite things to clean because all the bar oil and sawdust. Yeah, I just need the screws to draw that in. And I'll finish it by hand because it's just going into plastic. I've stripped out my fair share of screws from using a drill and plastic like this. And don't really like doing it. If there's more than one screw, and it's not a crucial part, I don't care that much, but still, all in all, it's nice to have as many screws as the factory put in there. Yeah, that's not right. I'll dig into that some other time, but for right now, my main focus is just getting this thing working and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna carry you out into the driveway real quick here, which is just right over here. turn the choke on. There we go. It's not idle very well. Probably just because it hasn't been raining so long. I'm gonna get the bar and chain on it real quick. Okay, so I got the bar back on. I accidentally hit the stop button again. I didn't show that, so all I gotta do is put the bar on the nut on these studs, put the cover on these two nuts, get the chain snug. Okay, we're gonna give it a choke. It's kind of hard to pull. It's got a decent amount of compression to it. Okay, so the kill switch don't work, so we're gonna have to take a look at that real quick. But the good news is it runs. So I will. The carburetor will, I'm sure, need a bit of an adjustment. I'll do that once it gets nice and hot. I didn't want to run it for very long because I got a piece to put on the muffler, and it's not very hot right now. So that wire should slide in to this hole here. Easily. You shouldn't have to force it. I think it goes in there. Yeah, it does. I don't know how far it's supposed to go in. It seems like there's a little groove. Yeah, there's a little groove in this right there where it seems like it would hold that wire, but I could be wrong. I'm gonna try to put a little lubricant on it to help it slide in. That's plenty. Yep. I didn't really thoroughly clean it yet because I am going to do a couple test cuts with it, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on it cleaning it and then just have it dirty in 5 minutes. I don't remember if I checked or cleaned that spark plug. I did a couple random things to it just to be sure I wasn't wasting my time. And I took the plug out to test compression to be sure it was worth working on. Yeah, I cleaned it, but I'll wipe it off because it's quite oily. It does have a cheap generic torch plug in it. And I'll wipe the cylinder threads a little bit because there's some gunk in there. And then I'll get the part on the muffler real quick. Okay. So what I took off of the muffler beforehand was the spark arrestor screen. It goes right there, which I'll grab it out of the bucket of parts real quick. So what this screen does is, on 2 strokes, oftentimes it will blow out a little spark sometimes if a piece of carbon or something breaks off. And what that does is that stops the spark to help not, so that way if the spark does come out, it helps with not creating a fire. And there's a little nut that goes on there, like so. These sometimes nuts are very hard to get on there. I think that's the 5/16 as well. I took that screen off just to be sure it wasn't clogged and causing the running issues. I think it's a 3/8 nut. Yeah, 3/8. That seems awfully small to be 3/8, but whatever. Okay. Oops, maybe that is 5/16. Seems, no, that's 3/8. That won't fit on there. Okay, that's tight enough. And put the sockets back so we don't have so much to clean up. I got our car back from the shop, so I'm going to try to clean up the garage a little bit tonight. Okay, so here is the air filter, which I did clean it out with soap and water. It was really dirty before. It's dry now. I cleaned it out, or I blew it out real good with the air compressor, and it's been sitting for about an hour. Okay, so this saw is pretty much back together. I got to get this top cover back on, which is just a couple screws, two there, one up by the muffler, one there, and I think that's it. That's about all that's left other than testing it and cleaning it. I probably need to do a slight adjustment to the carburetor. But yeah, it runs. I'm going to try not to put any parts into this saw if I can, because it's, not really worth it. I might put a new plug in it, which I'll probably put a BPM R7A because that's a universal plug, unless this torch plug, BPM R7A and BPM 8Y are the two most common two-stroke spark plugs for that's for NGK. I'm not too familiar with Champion or Bosch. Bosch isn't very good. Champion and NGK are the way to go. But yeah, this here works now, I think. Yeah, just a little tight, which is good because you don't want it shutting off in the middle of using it. So yeah, I think that's, let's see, do I have anything else left to do this other than that cover? No, I gotta get just a little cover that sits on top of the air filter. I gotta get that on. Then that beauty cover on the top. Just the carburetor. Give it a test cut. Clean it up. And then I'll probably put it up on eBay for sale. I don't know completely yet. I got two other chains from the previous owner of this. It was given to us. I don't know if any of them are sharpened. If this chain is dull, I'll try the other ones. And if they're just as dull, I'll sharpen them. I have a little sharpener that I ordered off of Amazon that I can sharpen with. So I'll do that. That's really about it. I mean, the primer works good now. I don't think there's any leaks. I'll have to check that. It didn't have a puddle of bar oil where it was sitting in the previous owner's garage, so I don't think it's leaking oil. So yeah, I think that's the end of this project. I've been wanting to get this done. Oh yeah, I forgot about this, about the chain brake, which I'll figure out how that little cover comes off when I'm ready to clean it. And that should be it. So yeah, thanks for watching. This will have to be this second part will be 2 videos because I hit the stop button on the first part, and I don't know if I am able to edit them together. So that's why most of my other videos are part 1 and 2, because I accidentally hit the stop button and the pause button instead of the pause button. So yeah, I'll give it another quick start off camera to check to see if this stop button works, and that should be about it. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and see y'all next time.